In our first season, we adopted a very bizarre tactic. It somehow carried us to a 4th place finish, but because Porto B won the league and cannot be promoted, we played in the promotion playoff and won on penalties.
That tastes like promotion!
And our sugar daddy owners gave us a respectable top flight budget. I'm also quite shocked about how many of you in the comments let me know that this is actually your local team. So it is my duty to take this reformed club above the big 3 in Portugal, starting off with some better training facilities. And signings are coming in the door immediately. At just 22, this guy is a perfect addition for our squad, a player who can chip in on both wings with a good amount of flair and pace. It did start to worry me though when the board added a ton of new expectations for the club vision. And our next signing was a Portuguese left-footed centre-back in Pedro Ganchas for just 700k. I decided to make some tactical changes for a much tougher season, starting off with the wing-backs. I put them on support instead of an attack duty, with the roaming playmaker I've made into a half-back. I also changed the mentality into just attacking, and a couple of tweaks in the instructions including early crossing and running at the defence. I then signed my best acquisition yet on a free transfer, albeit his wages are double what the player who gets paid the most at the club already is, but Carlos Vigorai is an amazing right back who will fit our methods perfectly. And he was closely followed by our new #1 goalkeeper who we signed from Braga B team. Michael Zappa then came in on a free, and the squad is starting to take place with just a few more positions really need to be filled. But the new season started with the Allianz Cup second phase match in which Zappa managed to get on the score sheet with 2 goals on his debut. But he wasn't the only one, as our new centre-back Ganchas, who is a threat from set pieces, scored not 1 but 2 goals from set plays to secure a 4-2 win. More signings and improvements came through though, as we signed Lucas Barros from Gil Vicente, as well as Kickass, who is going to be our next project in adopting our system in centre midfield. The likes to beat the offside trap is always good when running in from deep. And just like that, it was into the league fixtures, starting with a 4-2 away win, with 2 goals being scored by another new addition on loan from Benfica, João Neves, just 18 years of age. And if things go well, we have £2.2 million buy option in his contract. Our last bit of business was our best of the summer though, bringing in Davide Batella from Monza for just £4 million. A quality young defender, meaning we spent a total of £6.5 million while transferring out 325k worth of players. Some more familiar names got themselves on the score sheet in the next match, with Vito bagging the first, followed by last season's top scorer Paulinho, who outjumped the defence and goalkeeper to score our second in a 2-1 win against Gil Vicente. Just to give you an idea what our best 11 looks like, with a lot of the summer transfers replacing old faces from last season. I forgot to mention, I also made Gustavo Enriquez loan spell a permanent transfer for just 78k. 2 wins from 2 so far, who knows, we could push for a place in Europe next year.
You're unbearably naive.
Okay, 2 bad results. We then faced Braga in the Allianz Cup 3rd round and conceded in the first minute, but we still got ourselves a draw with Lucas Barros' header in the second half. And this propelled us into the next match, where we defeated Maritomo 1-0 through Gustavo Enriquez's goal. Our first test against the Big 3 this season, and Sporting ripped us open and Pedro Gonçalves scored. But Paulinho scored the second. Unfortunately, it was Paulinho in a Sporting shirt and not ours, and we lost 2-0.
Damn it, Carl!
And we followed the Sporting game with an away trip to Braga, where João Neves opened the scoring. This time, it was the Paulinho in the Estrela shirt who got on the score sheet, making it 2-0 to the underdogs. And in the second half, the same lad made it 3-0. In stoppage time, would you believe it, Paulinho scored his hat-trick and our 4th of the match from the spot. I think I just have to show you to make it believable. That's how good we are right now. And we followed it with a 10-0 win in the cup. Unfortunately, when we came up against Benfica, we couldn't continue the outstanding performances, and they very much humbled us, scoring 3 goals to our 0 in a very dominating performance. But we need to remember, we are newly promoted and not expected to be doing anything other than trying to survive. The rest of the month including 3 wins, with 2 being in other cup competitions. But we are still 4th in the league, which after 9 games is great for us, but pulling Porto this early in the cup is a shame. In that Porto Cup match, we did ourselves no favours defensively and gifted them the first goal very early into the game. But Vito's free kick found the head of Zappa and we were back in the tie, until Gabriel Veron gave Porto the lead for the second time in the 64th minute, and they secured their progression to the 6th round when Otavio scored a quality free kick. Back in the league, and we are still picking up good results like this comfortable 2-0 win against Casapia, albeit with 2 goals from set pieces. It was a bit more of a struggle against Rio Ave, although Vagarai found Vito in the first half with a brilliant deep cross. But Rio Ave came back right after half-time with an equaliser, but then Vito once again opened up their defence to find the run of Paulinho, who made no mistake with his finish. As we go into the new year, you can already see how well our new team is gelling together well already, with only 3 players from last season surviving in this 11. This has been a dream start. However, could the dream be over sooner than we thought, because there are takeover rumours already.
Oh, God!
This idea of the owners selling was backed up by the fact they didn't add anything to the transfer budget. An early fixture in January was a difficult loss to Sporting from a 76th minute winner. In the first game of the month though, it was a perfect performance from our talisman Paulinho, who is still scoring lots of goals despite the step up in league quality. Scoring a hat-trick in what was predator finishes in this 4-1 win, just what you want from your striker, or centre midfielder in this case. His mate and our loanee from Benfica, João Neves, stole the headlines soon after though with a lovely brace and a comfortable 2-0 win, and we were back on track with European football starting to creep into question again. Then we go and lose to Famalicão. With 2 games against Porto up next, it was good that we bounced back with a win. And somehow, with a lucky rebound, we actually take the lead against Porto away from home, but just a minute later, Dani Ceballos scored the equaliser. And a sucker punch in the second half as Porto took the lead through last season's league top scorer Tony Martinez. Come off the man, come off Paulinho though, as he strikes back with an equaliser of his own in the 75th minute. But a 92nd minute goal was looming. Thankfully, this goal, the winner of the match, was struck by the boot of Paulinho. Well, we beat them once, can we beat them in the semi-final at the Allianz Cup? What a semi-final this was as well. Uribe catching a perler for Porto was the only goal of the first half. The man on loan from Benfica made a fantastic run though, and Paulinho found him to level the scoring. But instantly, Porto scored again through Brereton Diaz, who signed on a free transfer from Blackburn. On the 85th minute mark though, Paulinho once again played a through ball, this time finding Vito, and a deflected shot looped up high and dropped into the net. However, once again, Porto wasn't done and Diaz scored a second in the 89th minute. But then the clock read 96 minutes and we have one last attack, the ball to Paulinho, who unselfishly laid it off, who hit home the equaliser. This game went all the way to penalties and Diaz, who had already scored 2, missed the first penalty. And a few successful penalties later being dispatched for both teams, Porto's other striker, Tony Martinez, also missed his. But we kept scoring, and veteran midfielder Alosio scored the winning penalty, sending us into the final of the Allianz Cup, which was to be played just 3 days later against Benfica, who haven't won this competition for 8 years. And I think we were still tied from the highs of the Porto semi-final, and we were tonked in the final against Benfica. We rested up though and then came back home to put 5 past Vizela, and we kept pushing with another 2 wins back to back. Did we push too much though, because we failed then to win the next 3 matches, which, going by our form, should be very winnable games. And yet, without those 7 points, we still sit in 3rd place above champions Porto. Another match against Braga and another phenomenal performance from Estrela. Paulinho, of course, the scorer of the first 2 goals of the game, but Braga did give us a bit of a worry when they halved our lead through Sousa. But then, with quality movement from the flank, Samuel Pedro cut inside and lost his defender to slot in a third for a 3-1 win, followed by another 3-0 win against former Portuguese champions Boa Vista away from home, before being brought right back down to earth once again by Benfica, who are really running away with the league title already. Another example of how you can score some beautiful goals using the attackerless tactic, and I really enjoyed watching both of our wingers get on the score sheet, almost playing as inside forwards. Passos de Ferreira did pull one back through a tie in the 80th minute, but João Neves picked up a third of the match to get all 3 points. It's such a shame that it was our only win during April, but in the top 3 just out of reach with 3 games remaining. winning. Any kind of European qualification would be amazing, but staying above Braga would be insane, and a win in our next match puts us on course to do just that in this 2-1 victory. Braga also win though and keep the pressure on, and they followed up with another win, this time 2-0 away from home. But what Braga can do, we can also, as an away trip of our own left us with smiles as Vito scored 2 goals in a 2-0 victory heading into the final day.
I'm not feeling the pressure, no. You cannot put pressure on me, no chance.
However, our final day opponents was Porto, but things started great when we caught the second ball high up the pitch and João Neves scored with just 4 minutes played. But Porto, who remember, are champions, are looking for payback after multiple bad performances against us, and Tony Martinez draws them level. And maybe we ran out of steam just a tad too early. Porto score once again and we lose on the final day. But it must have been our lucky day as Braga also lose. And somehow we finish in 4th place and qualifying for the Europa League next season. Absolutely incredible from the team, especially the 2 top scorers Paulinho and João Neves. Hopefully that season is enough for us to persuade this guy to join us permanently. However, we only have £5 million to spend next season. I'll see you then.